If you are someone who doesn't want to miss out on such content, subscribe and follow. So before I start today's case, I will just start by the definition that was given by one criminal lawyer and a prominent law writer, who defined a murderer as follows. He said, a murderer is a cold, unfeeling shadow, a soul lost in the abyss of darkness. His actions are swift, calculated, and are driven by twisted hunger that drowns out all compassion or all human compassion. Today's case is exactly like that because it's about murder, gang rape, and robbery. So, in a confession that was read by Lieutenant Colonel Ngambule on record, and Your Honor Mapisa or Judge Mapisa accepted that confession and said it had met all the requirements of a confession in terms of Section 217 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977 as amended. The statement was made and was signed voluntarily so by a co-accused, Thabisa Nkala. And Thabisa stated in his confession that he had just been released from prison, and he called one of his friends, Jeje, to say, Jeje, can I please have some money? And when I'm back on my feet, I will give you the money back. And Jeje said he did not have money, and the only assistance he would give to Thabisa was to make him join his new gang, and he would introduce him to the members of the gang. And Thabisa accepted that offer, and in no time, he found himself drinking brandy with the gang members in front of Ben Heston Street in Johannesburg. And they agreed that they were going to do robberies and they were going to mug people, but they were going to do that in Rhodespark. So in no time, they were headed for Rhodespark. When they arrived at Rhodespark, they found that the place was already occupied by another gang, and there was a gang of 6 guys that was there already. And they spoke to the guys to say, guys, we are here to rob people and mug people. We are here for the same reasons that we are here for. Can we join and form an alliance? And the gang accepted that they would work together, 12 of them, and become an alliance. So as they were there, waiting for their victims, they saw 2 couples coming. The first couple was Sipoka Zimbata and the husband. And the second couple was Zukisa Chkeke and the husband. So they arrived at the park. They were just coming from church, and they decided that as couples, let's go and wind up time at the park. So as they got to the park, they were not only shocked, but they were also astounded, and they were traumatized by seeing themselves being surrounded by 12 men. And the 12 men required from them their cell phone and all their valuables, and said, strip yourselves and lie to the ground. And this was the voice of the gang leader, who sounded to be very ruthless and who was not compassionate at the time. He had no sign of empathy in his voice. So they stripped them, and they said to the husbands, if the husbands do not comply and they are not compliant, they are going to be drowned in the lake that was close to the park, that was actually in the park. And the husbands kept on pleading for their lives and said, we did not have anything in our possession. And the gang leader said, we were now going to resort for extreme measures without hesitation and empathy. And they did exactly that. So what happened is the husbands kept on praying, and until their voices died down, their wives were taken to the other side by the gang, and they were being raped. And as they were being raped, one of the guys took out a knife and started cutting their underwears and started raping these ladies. But as time went by, there was a neighbor who said to the police, I have a footage because my CCTV camera saw a group of guys that were running in the street. And I think I caught some guys. I don't know if you'll be able to identify them. And the footage was taken and it was also played in court during the trial. And the footage was clear. And the court accepted also the footage. And it was showing the faces of the 3 accused. But the other gang members were still at large, but only 3 were arrested and they were identified as Tabisa Nkala, and the other one was Mududuzi, and the other one was Edmond Lovo. And the 3 stood trial and they were sentenced to 4 life sentences.